Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids, independent, existentialism, modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen X-istentialists. And welcome into another edition of the Gen X-istentialist podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And we are here to expound extemporaneously with you for the next 20 minutes or so. And today we have a super special guest, someone from our past. Let's introduce you to Mr. John Hildreth. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So before we jump into Mega Wheel the Magnificent, John, give us a little bit of background. Obviously, Bunny and I know you from high school, which is going way back a few decades.
Back in the day, talks to us.
And he still talks to us. It's amazing. So, John, a little bit about yourself.
So I live in Southwest Virginia in the greater Blacksburg area. I teach communications at Radford University, which is, again, right here in the area where I live. And I'm also a working songwriter and multi-instrumentalist.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's jump right in. Let's give Mega Wheel the Magnificent a spin. Over 1,300 questions. And John, I'll go ahead and say this. We've had a couple guests before, and they've been a little bit trepidatious about this. We're not going to throw you into the deep end. This first question will go to Bunny first, and then to you. So you'll have a little bit of time to think about it. And I'll bring up the rear and come in last. So our first question here on the Gen X-istentialists podcast: if you could be fluent in 4 languages, which languages would you choose? Bunny.
All right. I would be Chinese Mandarin. That would be Italian, Klingon, and Elvish. Because that brings all the girls to the yard.
Okay. John, 4 languages.
Wow. Okay, so just off the top, Spanish. I think I would also do Chinese, Mandarin. I think I would probably think about Japanese. And I would also think about French.
Okay.
All right.
All very useful.
I think ordering a taco in Spanish would be a lot easier than ordering a taco in Klingon. But so it makes a little more sense. I'm glad you're a little more level-headed and grounded in this.
See, I'm going to go with Spanish just because it would be so usable, just in everyday life, literally. I'm going to go with Welsh, just because I think it's such an interesting language, and to be one of the few people in the world that speaks it would be awesome. And then I could actually sing some of the songs by the Joy Formidable or Super Furry Animals and actually understand what they're about. Probably German, just for the heritage, and then maybe something completely off the wall, like along the lines of Welsh, go Icelandic. I think that would be incredibly fun. If I'm going to learn languages, I'll do one for pragmatism, Spanish, and the rest of them have to be just for the heck of it. So that's how things go. That was a quick starter, a taster, if you will. So we're going to spin Mega Wheel the Magnificent again and see what we can come up with. And as she's spinning down, here we go. Okay. This is one of those strange ones that doesn't make any sense. It's a question, but I have to question Bunny for when he put this on the wheel. Literally, the question is, you're done healing? So, Bunny?
I am profoundly broken. So does that count? I have no idea. That must have been a slip up leading to a trip up. So we can nix that one and move on ahead. That's very confusing.
No. John, you're done healing?
I think it's kind of a question you can't answer. I think all you can really say is, when these things happen to us in life, that harm us, you find where that fits into your life. And, when people say, well, you just need to forget about it and get over it, all that, that's really not really how life works. And so, when we have these harms or kind of broken things that happen, it's more like, okay, things will get better. And so I can't say, are you done healing? Well, sort of, yes. Sort of. Some things just, you find out where they fit in. They kind of stay with you. They just become part of you. So that's how I would answer that question.
See, Bunny.
Thoughtful answer.
Don't you feel bad now? Do you want to give it another shot?
No, I've said my piece. We'll move on to you, sir.
Yeah, for me, you're done healing? No,
Yeah.
I'm just not. Never will be. I'm diabetic, man. I'm hurt all the time. Something's going wrong all the time. I'm never done healing, ever. So we will jump in again to Mega Wheel the Magnificent. Has the sheen worn off yet, John? Because you're a longtime listener to the show. Have we thrown you into the deep end and it's just not what you thought anymore?
Not at all. I'm really glad to be here. One thing I first of all, when I first started listening to the show, what I loved the most was just hearing your voices again, because it had been so long. And I love the energy between you two and the banter. And the whole thing with the Mega Wheel, it's kind of this sort of throwback to yesteryear broadcasting. And so I dig that too. So, it's everything I thought it would be.
Awesome.
And more.
Well,
Awesome.
Thank you kindly, sir.
And so our next question from Mega Wheel of Magnificent: when people come to you for help, what do they usually want help with? Bunny.
They usually come to me with these wild ideas, crazy broken dreams and expectations, and they want me to make that bridge between fantasy to reality. That's kind of what I'm a bridge. That's what I do in my job. People have wacky ideas. They want people to see them in a certain light. They want to create propaganda. I'm your guy. I don't know. I make it happen. So that's normally when people come to me for help. That's usually what they ask for. Some people ask me to help them move. I tell them no.
So you're a living, breathing erector set for dreams.
Well, yeah, erector, erection, whatever. You get it.
I set you up there. That was softball.
I
Hit it out of
know.
the park.
Just,
yeah.
as long as it's rigid. Let's move on.
John, when people come to you for help, what do they want help with?
I'm going to have to echo Bunny. It's usually something they want my help bringing from fantasy into reality. Usually this happens, in the education realm. It's like, hey, I want to do this thing with my class. And it might be a really awesome idea. But much of the time, what they really want is something different than what they think they want. And this typically involves some application or combination of technology, maybe technology that this person doesn't know very well. And so, yeah, very similar to what Bunny just said. It's like, how can I make this person's dreams a reality? And sometimes you can't. I mean, sometimes the easier answer is, you could put a lot of effort into this, but, I really don't think it's going to turn out, but maybe think about doing this other thing.
It's always heartbreaking when you have to tell a professional or someone who's an aspiring professional that the pieces they brought you just don't fit at all together, and there's really nothing you can magically assemble, and to just watch their soul kind of crumble in their eyes as you tell them that, it's the worst. I've only had to do that twice. Yeah. And the one poor guy, I don't think he ever went back to filmmaking. I felt terrible about it. He actually sat on the stoop of my studio and cried with his wife. I felt like a complete ass. But I didn't do it in a bad way. It was just kind of this heartbreaking, I can't salvage what you brought me. It is an absolute mess, basically. And, we could spend days working on this, and it's not going to be, it's not going to make you happy. So,
well, and as bad as it makes you feel, I mean, you still did the right thing by them. I mean, you were honest with them. I mean, why waste their time and waste your time? And
Well,
so,
time
as
is money for a
disappointing
lot of
as it
these.
is,
Yeah. Time is money
yeah. Oh,
and precious for a lot of these clients. I'm sure you've found yourself in the same situation. You're usually running against some sort of time deadline, be it, a time that a class has to be put on, and the amount of time left for a project to be completed. It's better just to let people know where they stand right away. So,
yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. I mean, time's really about the most valuable thing you have.
Yeah.
In terms of assets. And yeah, I've had that experience, man, many times over the years. And then sometimes you kind of get a rare opportunity. Somebody wants to do something. Okay, for instance, again with the class, say, hey, I want my class to come in and group and do this thing and make this thing. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, this isn't really going to work. It's not a great idea, but I think it will be a good experience for everyone involved. So let's do it.
sure.
And they'll learn,
Yeah, give them enough rope, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, I can't give people enough rope with what they usually come to me for help with, because most of the help that I see is at my actual day job, where people will come to me like, do we really have to lock this machine out when we work on it? Yes. Why? Okay, here's the standard 1910.147, whatever it is, paragraph C. And here's what you can do. Here are the options you've got, and basically outlining it, and occasionally still getting the response, are you sure? Yes. Yes, I am absolutely sure. So it's the same kind of heartbreaking thing. And the thing that gets me is usually it's stuff where the time it took them to have this email conversation with me, if they had just gone out, locked the machine out, done the job, and been done with it, they could have been finished. But we've bantered about with it, because there really are some hard, fast rules in occupational safety and health that you just don't violate. You violate, you get exposed to hazards, and you potentially get hurt or die. So it's pretty simple. It's not dreams breaking, it's people's fingers and heads and stuff. So yeah, it's usually that kind of thing. The email query about, do I have to? And the answer is generally, yeah, you have to.
But see, that's one way to dissolve your responsibilities. Right?
How so?
Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Find
you just
out.
turn
Here's
it
some
into
rope.
Turn
Yeah.
it into a binary issue. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
End of
exactly.
story.
So we will give Mega Wheel the Magnificent another spin. And I do thank you, Bunny, for changing the photo that was in the center of Mega Wheel.
I miss her.
I don't. Okay, this is a great one, especially considering, what we know of each other, what we all kind of do. What kind of music does your family, we'll take it as family current, everybody in your household, what kind of music does your family listen to? Bunny.
Well, my family has shrunk considerably. It is just me and my wife now.
And Decca.
Decca is a cat. Decca is a millstone.
Decca is
I like to
very
refer to.
cute. Decca
I
is
know.
very cute.
That I'm the Jacob Marley, except I have a cat hanging around me instead of a bunch of money boxes. No, basically, my wife loves. It's very 80s still. We're really kind of trapped in the 80s. She likes a lot of electronic music, a lot of stuff like Depeche Mode, The Cure, stuff like that. I'm the same way, although I've really been taken. I'm still soaked in Guided by Voices. I've really, due to some things that have happened in my life, I've really gone on deep dives with the Innocence Mission. And now that I am at a point where I finally feel like the question we had before, are you done healing? I don't know. I mean, working on it from things, but I've finally starting to find my inner rage again. So I've really been doing a deep dive on Creator lately. Going back through the catalog and enjoying all their stuff except for their gothic rock years. So that's sort of what we do. It's always one of those deals where whoever drives gets to pick the music. So I always feel bad for Gene because we turn on my car and it's immediately just screaming coming out. And I'm like, I'm so sorry that I need this to drive. So how about you, John?
So it's just my wife, Sherry, and I here at home. And so when we listen to music, as far as both of us, I mean, there's a lot of uh, singer-songwriter stuff, some pop stuff, rock and roll. Um, she kind of veers more toward like alt rock, alt country, and I like some of that too. And then I've got my jazz thing, classical thing, heavy rock thing, and she'll dig some of that, but that's kind of sort of where we're kind of coming from. So it's just kind of give and take. It's like, hey, I just put that record on. Why don't you put the next one on? Kind of thing. So that's kind of how we roll with it here. And we on our music subscription, we get like these curated playlists like every week. And they can be really surprising. You kind of never know what's going to pop up on it. Sometimes they kind of suck, but sometimes they're really cool. And sometimes we'll just like roll the dice and put one of those on, see what comes up.
All right. Can I ask a follow-up question to John?
Yeah.
All right. A couple of episodes ago, a few episodes ago, the question came up of what's the best album to make out to, and I feel like this is a good question for someone who is a music guy. What is your best album to make out to?
Let's let him know, because that
Sure.
episode hasn't aired yet at the time we're doing this. So Bunny's was The Cure's "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me," and mine was Vangelis, the Blade Runner soundtrack. So that's what you're dealing with here when you answer.
Wow. Well, those are two great choices right there. Those are two fantastic records. I have to say, I mean, I don't know that I've ever I haven't thought about this in a long time. Records to make out to. I mean, this thing kind of just happens organically sometimes, right? So here, hang on a second. Let me put something on. All right. Oh gosh. Okay, gosh. A good record to make out to. Okay, well let's just go for a popular favorite here, right? Violator, Depeche Mode.
Oh,
Yeah.
good choice. Good
Yeah,
choice.
absolutely. Cool.
So, Scott, music that your family listens to.
My wife Tracy likes a little bit of everything. Like, I've turned her into an Iron Maiden fan. She went to a concert with me a few years ago and she is an avowed fan now. But she also likes everything from outlaw country to folk to pop. Literally in her car, the stations that are programmed on her Sirius radio are a wide expanse of different kinds of music. I'm kind of the same way. Like right now, I'm doing another deep dive into Duran Duran because John Taylor is just the shiznit as far as bass players go. But also been listening a lot to old Seattle stuff, as in Mother Love Bone, Sunny Day Real Estate. I love Riverside, Polish prog rock band, U2, The Joy Formidable, Wolf Alice, everything from that to Mastodon and Lacuna Coil. Literally, it's kind of a mishmash of everything. And some of it, Tracy and I cross over. We're in the right spot, and occasionally stuff comes up in the car, and she just kind of looks at me like, "Can we not today? Can we do something else?" Like, yeah, absolutely, you pick. Because if it's on my phone, I like it, and we'll just roll that way. So it kind of crosses a lot of borders and genre lines, which I think
Nice.
most people do. I mean, a lot of people have that genre that they love, but it's seldom that that's all they listen to. There are usually sprinklings of a lot of stuff around there, So we will give on this episode, Mega Wheel of Magnificent, one more spin. See what else we can come up with to put a bow on this episode of the Gen X-istentialists. And our question is, what would you do if you were suddenly given world-class hacking knowledge and ability? Bunny.
I think one of the first things I would do is I would dissolve everyone's debt worldwide. wipe the slate clean. Just throw it all into chaos. That would probably be enough. I don't really need to know anybody's personal information. I don't want to bring down any world governments or anything. I just kind of want to give everybody a little breathing room, a little chance to feel good for a change, especially if you are under the weight of crushing debt. So,
yeah,
that would be mine.
John?
Interesting question. What comes to mind, the first thing that came to mind when you asked that, is hack the system so that I could get massive amounts of food to the parts of the world that are starving, and there are a lot of them. And I guess that's sort of an extension of your answer, Bunny, of canceling debt. But beyond canceling debt is actually, hacking infrastructure to actually, redirect foodstuffs to places that are just basically cut out of the system for no good reason, or because their own governments don't let them have it. So I think I do something along those lines.
Cool.
Fed people are a more powerful people.
Yep. Absolutely. See, I was going to say one of two things. I was either going to say, shut all the computer systems down for a couple days just to make everybody realize the wonders that we've got and how good we've got it, so that when I turn them back on, everybody's a little bit more appreciative. But I don't think that would work, because the people I'm trying to make appreciate it more are not going to care. So hacking into all of the billionaires and billionaire corporations that haven't paid taxes and extracting that tax money and putting it places where it can be useful and helpful, and let's rebuild infrastructure, let's do the right thing that the government can't do because it doesn't have the money. So I think we're all trying to do a little bit of the same thing to bring some equity to the world and make the world a better place, which is what hackers out there, if you're listening, that's what you should be doing. Don't go stealing people's information that can barely make ends meet. Go after the people that are the actual criminals in the world, And on that happy note, this has been the Gen X-istentialists podcast with our special guest, John Hildreth. John, thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
And Bunny, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And my name's Scott, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.